Well, having had my ride on the whiskey train yesterday, it's time to leave this ex-prisoner of war camp, now a fabulous campsite, and head to my next destination, Aberdeen. Well, I'm driving along the A96 and I've got 30 miles left to go to get to Aberdeen, and I was looking for somewhere interesting to stop and make myself some breakfast, and then I saw this place, and I have just had a really delicious breakfast, very, very reasonably priced. So you're going down the A96 near on the way to from Aberdeen, look out for that place. Well, I've entered in Aberdeen and I'm following my sat-nav to a place recommended on Park for Night, which sounds really, really good, but I'm a little bit dubious about the route there. And it's supposed to be along the seafront, so it's got some quite good write-ups. I'm really looking forward to spending the night there, and it's close enough to the city centre for me to ride in on Muriel. So let's hope that it all works out well. And I've just seen a sign that says no overnight camping. Well, that was a complete and utter disappointment. And now I really don't know. I'm going to have to look up on Park for Night again, see if there's anywhere else more suitable where you can stop for the night. So I had another look at Park for Night, but there was nowhere else suitable, and I couldn't find a campsite that was available. And now I hit another problem called LEZ, Low Emission Zone. And in the past I've found a way of paying for the day, but when I did a vehicle check, I was just banned. That was it, banned. So if you drove in, you got fined, and the fine was pretty heavy. I tried everything. Every road I took, I came across this sign. You are now entering the low emission zone. Oh, I didn't know where the cameras were, so I just reversed and got out of there as quick as possible. Looked and looked and looked to find a way out. I couldn't, so the only thing I did was I reversed the route that I'd just taken and tried to get back out of the city the way that I'd come in. Big disappointment. I finished looking at places around here, and it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all. And unfortunately, the city centre is subject to special zones that you can't get into unless you do, I don't know. But little did I know until it was too late. Watch on to find out. So I'm going to go on to Dundee. Dundee? Oh, blow me. It was the same, and I still hadn't found out what could be done about it. Anyway, let's carry on. Find somewhere to stop. Park for Night had found me a place along the seafront at Dundee, so we'll take a drive down there and see what happens. Well, I'll tell you what happens. No overnight. We'll have to do some updating on Park for Night. Well, Park for Night found me another place on the south bank of the River Tay, not far from the Tay railway bridge. I finally found somewhere I can stay the night, and I'm parked here, right next to the water. There are people swimming. Having a good time on the beach. So come and have a look at this. I was going to show you the sign which talked about bays 1 and 2, and I couldn't find anything marked, but then some locals said, have a look at that post over there. There's no map of the area, but there it is, Bay 1. Little tiny sign on a post. And luckily Bay 1 was empty. Well, that's where I am. And now I'm in dire need of a cup of tea. And this is the view I have out of the back of the van. Across the Tay. I was really disappointed with Aberdeen and the LEZs. I fully appreciate the need for clean air. I remember I experienced the smogs of the late 1950s and the early 1960s. And there was one occasion where I actually had to get my passenger to sit on the bonnet of my Mini to guide me and follow the curb, and then we came to a T-junction and got lost. It really was horrible. So I can fully appreciate why we should be going for clean air, don't get me wrong there. But the way that it was mapped out, I think I probably caused more pollution trying to avoid the LEZs than I would have done if I'd driven through. But I couldn't find a way to pay to go through. I could only find out how much you get fined if you did. I drove through the LEZ in Bath on one occasion, and then I had to pay, and I went on the website and paid it. There's no trouble at all. But today I couldn't find that payment method. When I put my registration number in as a vehicle checker, it said you're not allowed. So there we are. But now I'm in this beautiful, beautiful spot. I'm looking across at the Tay Bridge, railway bridge. There's a story about that, very sad story, which I'll tell you when I've had my tea. It's 2025 now, and there's a modern 2025 train going across this bridge. But many years ago, if you're British, you probably know the story. But if you're not, or you're too young to remember it, here's what it says about it. On the evening of Sunday the 28th of December 1879, a violent storm, 10 to 12 on the Beaufort scale, was blowing virtually at right angles to the bridge. Witnesses said the storm was as bad as any they had seen in the 20 to 30 years that they had lived in the area. One called it a hurricane, as bad as a typhoon he had experienced in the China Sea. Use of the Tay rail bridge was restricted to one train at a time by a signalling block system using a baton as a token. At 7:13 p.m, a North British Railway passenger train consisting of a locomotive, its tender, 5 passenger carriages and a luggage van slowed to pick up the baton from the single cabin at the south end of the bridge, then headed out onto the bridge and picked up speed. The signalman turned away to log this and then tend the stove, but a friend present in the signal cabin watched the train When he got about 200 yards, 180 metres from the cabin, he saw sparks flying from the wheels on the east side. He'd also seen us on a previous train. During the inquiry, testimony was heard that the wind was pushing the wheel's flanges into contact with the running rail. John Black, a passenger on the previous train that crossed the bridge, explained that the guardrails protecting against derailment was slightly higher than the inboard of the running rails. This arrangement would catch the good wheel where derailment was. The sparks continued for more than 3 minutes, by which time the train was in the high girders. At that point there was a sudden bright flash of light, and in an instant there was total darkness. The tail lamps of the train, the sparks and the flash of light all disappearing in the same instant. The signalman saw none of this and did not believe it when told. When the train failed to appear off the bridge into Dundee, he tried to talk to the signal cabin at the north end of the bridge, but found that all communication of it with it had been lost. Not only was the train in the river, but also the high girders and much of the ironwork of their supporting piers. Divers exploring the wreckage later found the train still within the girders, with the engine and in the 5th span and the southern 5-span division. There were no survivors. Only 46 bodies were recovered out of 59 known victims. 56 tickets for Dundee had been collected from passengers on the train before the crossing, allowing for season ticket holders tickets for other destinations, and for railway employees. 74 or 75 people were believed to have been on the train. Terrible. The man who designed the bridge died a year later, with his reputation in tatters. And I'm looking out over at the new bridge now. I'm sorry about my voice in that, but I should have finished drinking my mug of tea first. It's certainly a lovely spot to spend the night, with the back of Gwendolyn hanging over the wall. Really good. It's a lovely day. But over the far side there, mist and fog. Blooming marvellous. After I'd related that story to you, I thought I'll just have a more of a bit of a search, and I discovered that because I am a blue badge holder, I could get exemption for the LEZ for Aberdeen. And then it occurred to me, I had approached the zones several times whilst I was trying to find a way to miss them, and I had to turn around and get away. And it occurred to me, I didn't know where the cameras were that could catch you. So I went onto the website, and it's taken me about 45 minutes, but I actually managed to get exemption for today. So even if the cameras have caught me, I'm still okay. But I'm not going to drive the 70 miles back to make use of it or apply again tomorrow. I'm not going to do it. I'm heading south. I'm going back to Wales. That's it. But look, I have a one-day exemption for the motorhome for Gwendolyn. There's my application number, and it's issued on 12th, which is today. So even if I've been caught, I'm okay. Well, the mist has lifted now, and you can see all the way across the bridge to the other side. and Dundee. And that evening I enjoyed an interesting, I can't say beautiful, but an interesting sunset. And the following morning, an interesting sunrise. And the birds were taking advantage of the fact that the tide was out and plenty to get your teeth into, or your beaks into. A heron, beautiful bird. I had discovered that an exemption for blue badge holders applied to all major cities in Scotland. So I got myself another one, and I decided that I would take a little detour through Glasgow, because there were two things that I wanted to look at again, or at least see again. Well, the journey started off in the fog or heavy mist, but it soon brightened up, and the two things that I wanted to go and look at was the Finneston crane and Barrowlands, a well-known marketplace. Glasgow has got an underground system similar to the one in London, and the trains are very similar to look at, but they're smaller, and there's only just one line, or there was, and just go round and round in a circle. And I don't know whether they've done anything about it, but when it rained heavily, the line got closed because one of the tunnels used to flood. I don't know whether they put that right yet. And after waiting ages for these lights to turn green, I was able to get on my way again and try and find the crane. I don't know what's happening now. Oh, my sat nav got very confused underneath that bridge, and it led me all over the place. But anyway, I think we're back on track, and all this here is very, very new to me. In front of you there you can see the exhibition centre, and there's the building there, which is called the Armadillo. I wonder why. And there is the bridge. And it's not a bridge, it's a crane. And it was built in 1931 to 1932, and it's lifted over 30,000 locomotives onto the ships. It does a complete revolution in 3.5 minutes, and it's capable of lifting 175 tons. Well, having looked at that again, for probably the last time, I'm off to see the other thing I came to see, Barrowlands. Or as the locals say, the Barras. The place doesn't open until 10 o'clock. So, whilst I have my breakfast, let me read what it says about it. Barras Market is renowned globally for its vibrant atmosphere and diverse offerings. It serves as a hub for local traders, providing a wide range of goods from fresh produce to unique crafts. The market attracts both residents and tourists, making it a significant cultural and economic centre in the area. Visitors can experience the lively interactions and rich traditions that characterise this bustling market. It's only open weekends, by the way. So I think probably when it first opens it won't be bustling, or vibrant, but we'll take a look inside anyway. I've mentioned before that I used to own a place called Blantyre Mill, and one of my neighbours made a living out of going to car boot sales, buying up stuff which needed renovating and cleaning up, and he'd do that during the week, and then at the weekend his wife used to come down here and she had a stall and sell the stuff that he dealt with. And there it is, Barrowland. Now it is still very early, so a lot of the places haven't opened up yet. You can find almost anything here. I wonder if those were made at the cooperage I went to. There's yet more stalls up here. Well, that's it, I think, and I need to start heading south. I've been away 3 weeks today on this Gwendolyn adventure. Seen a lot of things, been to a lot of places, but now I need to get back and mow the lawn. So I don't know how far I'm going to get today, because it's about 500 miles or so, and I've already been driving for, well, nearly 2 hours, so I'll just have to see how far I get. I got as far as Metal Bridge, great stopover place. So Monty, I guess that's the end of our little Gwendolyn adventure, and tomorrow it's just straight back to South Wales. And it's South Wales, you know where we live? Yeah, okay. And it's going to take about 6 hours of driving, so I need a really, really good rest this afternoon and tonight. You right there with that? Okay. Okay. So, unless anything untoward or interesting happens tomorrow, this will be the last video of this 3-week adventure. After, well, Aaron and then the rest of it. So say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching. You're funny, you are.